All right, back on the Young Turks. By the way, that office that was vandalized with spray-painted dorks on it was the Knox County Democratic headquarters in Mount Vernon, Ohio. And now a new report into apparently someone reportedly threw a fist-sized rock through the front window of the Hamilton County Democratic Party headquarters Sunday night after the vote as well. So now these physical attacks against Democratic headquarters and congressmen's offices and congresswomen's offices is growing and growing, and it is obviously completely outrageous. Okay, now, it's a bit of a dramatic news story here. Ladies and gentlemen, they got him. Down goes Acorn. Down goes Acorn. Acorn has decided, they voted, the board did, to shut down operations. Acorn had 400,000 member families organized in 1,200 neighborhoods in 110 cities. So what did they do other than fixing the election for Obama? Now remember, the right wing went after Acorn. These guys are terrible and they're doing voter fraud, etc. Not one single case of voter fraud was proved or shown against Acorn. In the beginning, some Acorn voters before the election put things like Mickey Mouse to get registered people like Mickey Mouse to get paid. Once Acorn found out, they fired those people. None of those people actually ever voted, right? So that wasn't good enough. And then the right-wing media and the Republicans found a new thing. James O'Keefe, this guy who later wound up getting arrested for trying to tap the phones of Senator Mary Landrieu. That's a felony, by the way. He got arrested for that, but earlier he had dressed up in a pimp outfit and gone to Acorn offices and gotten advice on how to do prostitution, they claim. Now, the Brooklyn DA's office looked into it, and they said the video was heavily edited, and in fact, there was no criminal wrongdoing at all. The New York Times, funny enough, ironically enough, today prints a correction saying, oh, our bad, it turns out that O'Keefe guy was never dressed as a pimp at any of the offices. He just had that in an earlier part of the video, but he didn't actually go into the offices flamboyantly dressed like a pimp, so the video was a little misleading. Oh, now you tell us, right? But what happened in the meanwhile, and what does Acorn actually do? Here's what Acorn actually does. They promote home ownership, and they help to rebuild New Orleans. They fought for raising wages and safer streets for lower-income and middle-income families. They led to promoting voter participation. Also, they provided free tax return preparation for low-income people and screening for state and federal benefit programs. So, if somebody's trying to rip you off, your credit card company is, and you don't have any resources, you don't have a lawyer, for example, you go to Acorn and they help you out a little bit. If you got a mortgage that you don't understand or you're not sure you should sign, you go to Acorn and they provide legal services. And the list goes on and on. All these things that wound up helping low-income and moderate-income people in this country in over 1,000 different cities. Okay, I'm sorry, over 110 cities, I should say. They had 1,200 neighborhood chapters, right? So now all of a sudden, the Republicans and the right-wingers start this huge brouhaha over these totally non-existent issues. And you know what they did? They introduced the legislation saying, let's cut their funding. And of course, the Democrats, being the weak, coward capitulators that they are, but it's not just that, it's worse. I'll get to that in a second. They voted with the Republicans. So they stripped Acorn of their money. Now, they went to court, and it would turn out to be a bill of attainder. They specifically attacked Acorn in a piece of legislation, which is unconstitutional. They won that case, but too late. The money's already gone. So they had to shut down because they don't have money anymore, and they can't pay people. So this organization that has been around since 1970, helping low-income and middle-income Americans, gone, wiped off the face of the earth because the Democrats let the Republicans walk all over them. Now, you say, wait a minute now, these guys, if they're registering low-income voters, historically, those voters generally tend to vote for Democrats. Why wouldn't the Democrats defend them? Well, there are two options. One is that they're craven and cowardly. That's the better option. I mean, you hope that the Democrats are that weak and pathetic, right? Because the second option is worse. What is the second option? Well, it's that the Democrats are corporatists, and they don't like people fighting for low-income and middle-income Americans. They're those pesky people bothering the credit card companies and the banks, trying to stand up for the rights of real American citizens as they try to fight the corporate behemoth? No, they wanted Acorn wiped off the map too. And so they were like, oh, golly gee willikers, you twisted our arm. I can't believe that. And they figure, what difference does it make to register some voters for us? That's not how you win elections anyway. You win it by taking corporate lobbyist money. Now look, does that sound too conspiratorial? It does a little bit to me, right? Can they be even that craven? I don't think it's a conscious decision. I don't think the Democratic senators get together and go, hey, should we kill Acorn with the Republicans? I would be surprised at that, right? But somehow the system has selected Democrats that are always weak and never fight for their side, and conveniently that winds up helping corporate America, because you have the right-wingers who push to help corporations in every conceivable way, and you have Democrats who don't fight back. And then all of a sudden, look at that, low-income people, you no longer have an opportunity for any kind of legal defense or help or consultation, preparing your taxes. It doesn't matter, nothing. It's all wiped off the board, and hopefully you won't even be able to vote because you won't get registered, in which case, the lobbyist money will be even more valuable because you can't beat it with your votes. So the Republican Party has to be very happy about this turn of events. The right-wing media has to be ecstatic. They got a nice scalp of the guy that Glenn Beck or the organization that Glenn Beck put on the chalkboard most often as he did his lunatic screaming, say, Acorn, Acorn, Obama, Acorn, Democrats, Acorn, Van Jones. I love that he does that, and then they think, aha, case closed. So in this case, the case is closed. But the people that have to be the happiest are the guys that sit on the board of the banks. Like, oh, thank God. Low-income, middle-income Americans won't be helped anymore, and we can do any kind of damn contract we like and run their ass over. Thank God we bought those Republicans and Democrats. So Acorn is done. If you're looking for help in those neighborhoods that you used to get, you're not going to get it anymore. Why? Because the Republican and the right-wing media ran their ass over, and the Democrats didn't do a damn thing. In fact, they helped the Republicans. It's pathetic, absolutely pathetic what happened to Acorn. Look, if I was a right-winger, you see how well this worked, and you see how well Van Jones worked, getting rid of him, and you see how well it worked to marginalize actual Democratic fighters like Howard Dean, and the list goes on and on. I just keep going. That's why they do what they do. If I was them, look, let me attack the next target, and the next one, and the next one, and these Democrats are always going to bow their head. They're always going to be shovers, and I'm going to have my way. So Beck's got to be thinking, who's next? If I was him, that's what I'd be thinking. I don't know. Well, let's find out. Tune in tonight. See who they do a character assassination of next, and it'll work. It always does. No, this country is fundamentally broken. Fundamentally broken. All right. Now, speaking of Beck, Zach Exley did a wonderful blog where he compared Beck and the Joker, and he provided audio clips. And, we talked a lot about Beck on this program, but I never made that connection until I read Zach's blog on it. And, man, he nailed it. All right, so what we're going to do is just give you the audio clips that Zach put together. One is the Joker, the next one is Beck, then Joker, then Beck, okay? So, and let you make it up your own mind. Now, Zach explains, look, like the Joker, Beck does hissing and maniacal laughter and screaming, etc. Let's see if it matches up. First, clip number 7.
Do you want to know why I use a knife? Guns are too quick. You can't savor all the little emotions. You see, in their last moments, people show you who they really are. So, in a way, I knew your friends better than you ever did. Would you like to know which of them were cowards?
The dramatic pauses in between the way of speaking. All right, look, maybe we're overdoing it. Let's listen to Beck next. Clip number 8.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, Jim, I just wanted to just pass this on to you. In my time, I will respond. My time, well, kind of like God's time. Might be a day, that might be a week to you. I'm not sure. But I'm going to get to it in my time, not your time. So you go ahead and you continue to do your little protest thing, and that's great. I love it. But just know, the hammer's coming. Because little do you know, for 8 weeks, we've been compiling information on you, your cute little organization, and all the other cute little people that are with you. And when the hammer comes, it's going to be hammering hard and all through the night. Over and over. Because you've got years. Reason why we've been working on it for 8 weeks is there are years of video and audio, things I bet you didn't even know were recorded. It's weird. It's weird how people all over the world have been sending me stuff. It's weird that way, Jimmy. But I want you to know, those aren't personal attacks, sir. They're not. They're about your, I don't want to say theology because that's not right, your philosophy based in Marxism. In time, it's coming, Jim. This week, healthcare. Oh.
Yeah, scary, man. My time is coming. I've got people all over the world. We're going to bring the hammer and a knife. You know why I use a knife? I don't know, man. That's pretty scary. All right, let's go to the next Joker clip, see if it keeps going.
So you think Batman's made Gotham a better place? Hmm? Can you look at me?
My time.
You see, this is how crazy Batman's made Gotham. You want order in Gotham. Batman must take off his mask and turn himself in. Oh, and every day he doesn't, people will die. Starting tonight. I'm a man of my word.
The laughing. I'm telling you, man, it's scary stuff. All right, let's go to Beck again. Different clip.
It's the good news according to Glenn, not to Jesus. But I'm not sure you'd recognize the good news according to Jesus. The good news according to Glenn is we're going to spend a lot of time talking about social justice in the coming days. Could happen at any time, so you just keep listening. But we're going to do it in a special way, because I'm not going to help you sell books. We're going to do it in a special way. And you're going to like it. You're going to like it. You're going to like it a lot. So just stay with us. Okay, Jim? All right. And that goes for you at moveon.org and the Huffington Post. You just stay with us. You just keep listening because we've got some really, really special coming.
Damn, man, Zach, you nailed it. I hadn't thought of that at all, but you're right. I mean, we've got something special coming for you. Now, you remember this old classic? Look, the guy's mental. I mean, he said that to a real caller. This is him. We're not playing. This is real audio from the Glenn Beck Show. Scary stuff, man. Oh, I'm coming in my time. I'm going to bring a hammer, Jim. Dude is spooky. All right. There you have it. Nicely done, Zach Exley. All right. Now, I got more. Remember, it's funny that Beck is the Joker. Remember when we called McCain the Penguin, and then we did his laugh? God, these guys, they're like out of a comic book, right? I mean, we do this. The original guy who was out of a comic book is Dick Cheney, the Sith Lord, right? But remember McCain with his laugh? Batman. We go back and check our old YouTube clips on that. Anyway, so McCain is on the warpath against the health care bill. He's going to go on television. And he is going to say in a local news interview about how they're coming. Okay, look at this Winston Churchill-like speech by McCain. Clip number 1.
Not giving up the fight. That is the message that Arizona Senator John McCain is sending this morning regarding the passage of the health care reform bill. And joining us now on the phone is Senator McCain. Senator McCain, what time did you get to bed last night?
Not too late, Tara. That action was over in the House, and it was pretty much of a foregone conclusion that the wishes of the American people were going to be overridden in an unsavory, sausage-making, Chicago-style process.
You say you all will fight everywhere. Where do you begin? Where do you start?
Well, we'll begin in this reconciliation, so-called, that's going to come to the Senate in the next couple of days, and then we'll fight in the courts, and then we will fight at the rallies and the tea parties and the town hall meetings, and we will fight at the ballot in the ballot booth, and we will prevail, and we will defeat this because the United States of America and the state of Arizona cannot afford this.
200 Republican amendments in this thing, and I know Nancy Pelosi said this, had bipartisan things contained in it, but obviously you completely disagree.
That's just bizarre to say that. We were never included either here or in the House, and I'm deeply disappointed, by the way, in our Democrat members of Congress who voted for this bill when I know that the overwhelming majority of people in Arizona did not want that. That's not what they were elected to do. But look, we were not involved in this except in the most cosmetic fashion, and I've been there from the beginning. The point is that this is a direct contradiction to the overwhelming majority opinion of American people. It's the first time in history a major change has been made when, with only on a partisan basis, and I can assure you that this will have a harmful effect.
We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight in the cities and on the hills, but we shall never surrender. Yeah, all right, I got it, John. Okay, yeah, I know. You're Winston Churchill fighting against people. You know what one of the things the bill does? You know I don't love the bill, right? But one of the things it does is saying your kids cannot be denied health care coverage because they have a pre-existing condition. That's the great thing that you're fighting against, the great evil that you're fighting against, like Churchill fought against the Nazis. I shall make sure that your kids suffer with no insurance and no way to pay for it. I shall fight for the insurance companies, I shall fight for the large hospitals, and I shall fight for the drug companies. Very inspiring, John. And how soft was that anchor? I mean, the Democrats say that you've introduced, and they accepted 200 Republican amendments. Oh, but that's ridiculous, right? I mean, come on, that's really ridiculous, right? You totally disagree, right? You want to throw it up any softer than that? How about you ask him the same question in a different way? They accepted 200 Republican amendments. You don't disagree with that, right, Senator McCain? No, of course not. They did. So what would have gotten your vote? 201 Republican amendments? What would it have taken for you to vote for this thing? And then, of course, McCain does at the end what they always do, which is, oh, this was too partisan. Well, if none of you vote for it under any conditions, no matter how many concessions you get, how can you blame Obama for the partisanship? I might not love the bill, but on who was more partisan, it's not even close. It's not within a country mile. The Democrats did everything they could to give more and more and more to the Republicans. In fact, I saw an analysis of it today, comparing this to the Republican version of health care reform introduced by John Chafee during the Clinton years, back in 93, 94. And the current Democratic version is nearly identical to it. It's at least 80% the same. There's a minor couple of things where they wouldn't have expanded Medicaid as much. Wow. Okay? They got rid of pre-existing conditions, et cetera, and you go down the list, 8 out of 10 things match up. Because the Republican Party has gone so far to the right that their earlier proposals from just 15 years ago, they say is a socialist takeover over the country. It's absurd. The only thing funnier was John McCain's initial enthusiasm about sausage making. He's like, oh, it was a sausage-making process. Mm-hmm. Okay, John, bring it down. Bring it down. All right. I got a lot more where that came from. Come right back. Young Turks.
Bombs in the deal, and the kids keep coming. Don't wait.
All right, back on the Young Turks. I'm going to get back into healthcare because there's some funny and interesting stories and important stories as to what direction this battle is going to go next in just a minute. But two quick things before that. One is just quick reminder to everybody to vote for us if you can for the Streamies. We've been nominated with 9 other shows for the Audience Choice Award. If we win that, that is basically saying our audience is the best audience on the whole internet, because Streamies is one of the largest, if not the largest, web awards organization. And if you win their Audience Choice Award, that means you have the best and most kick-ass audience in the world. So now, a big statement, but nonetheless. And so that'd be great. So if you go to the Streamies, on our website, there's the exact link where you can click on it. It's the easiest voting. I did it this morning. Just click on the Young Turks, and that's it. All right. Now, by the way, I said this is kind of a big statement. Somebody in the press wrote, this was about me at the Guardian Summit in London, the one I went to last week. Quote, to describe Cenk as cocksure would be a massive understatement. But he continues, but you only have to look at some of the engagement stats on his YouTube channel to see that this confidence is not entirely without foundation. Oh, damn. All right, so that's great, fun for everybody. Now, you want to talk about fun. There is a new Harris poll out, and it has some devastating numbers. They asked Republicans about their attitudes. They also polled some non-Republicans as well. Let's start with the most benign and go to the craziest. So, what percentage of Republicans believe that Obama is a socialist? Well, you know this is going to be a high number. And it turns out it's 2/3. 67% of Republicans believe that Obama is just a flat-out socialist. In fact, 40% of all Americans overall believe that Obama is a socialist. That's mental, okay? If he was a socialist in healthcare, you think he might have done single payer? I mean, a real socialist, we're talking about socializing the doctors or the hospitals. That's never been discussed. Let alone, if you want to socialize insurance, you might want to go with single payer. That was never discussed. He actively killed the public option, which for a real socialist is a joke. It's a joke compromise. All right, so the guy is nowhere near socialism, but an overwhelming 2/3 of Republicans think that he is. But we're just getting warmed up. That's no problem at all. Fact number 2, 45% of Republicans agree with the birthers in their belief that Obama was, quote, not born in the United States and so is not eligible to be president of the United States. 45% of Republicans believe that Obama is lying, and the whole media is lying. Everybody's lying. In fact, Obama not born in the U.S. and shouldn't be president. 25% of Americans overall think that. How effective is Fox News Channel? I mean, this stuff comes straight out of Fox News. That's the pipeline. And it gets fed, and it never gets challenged effectively enough, apparently, by others, so it takes hold. You think that's crazy? We're just getting warmed up. 57% of Republicans believe that Obama is a Muslim. How could they think that Obama is a Muslim, and at the same time, they blame him for sitting in Reverend Wright's church for 20 years? So he's the wrong kind of Christian, and he's a Muslim. 57% of Republicans believe that, but we're just getting warmed up. Fact number 4, 24% of Republicans believe that Obama might, quote, be the Antichrist. Now, to be fair, they said he may be the Antichrist. Are they not merciful? 24%. Look, I mean, you have to be crazy enough, first of all, to believe that there is an Antichrist. There's going to be literally a devilish figure coming, whoa, I will take over the world. Okay, and then that is Barack Obama. I mean, these guys are dangerous, because think about that for a second. If a quarter of all Republicans in the country think that Obama is the Antichrist who's come here to destroy the world, you think that they might not take some physical action against him after being encouraged by all of their media? I don't know, you cared about this country and our freedom and, and your family and you might want to do something. If a quarter of them think he's the Antichrist, that makes me really worried. But I'm not done yet. There's fact number 5 from this new Harris poll. 38% of Republicans believe that Obama is, quote, doing many of the things that Hitler did. Really? Many of the things Hitler did? What? Like the gypsies, the Poles, the Jews? He's rounded them all of them up. He's invaded the Czech Republic. What do you mean many of the things? 38% of Republicans believe that Obama is doing many of the things Hitler did. That's such a huge number. 20% of all Americans, a fifth of the country, believe that Obama's like Hitler. That's mental. And yet, Fox News and the right-wing media, and they call the media liberal. They're liberal. Are you kidding me? Liberals, this media is so pathetically conservative. They let Fox News Channel run amok and put this poison in the minds of Americans. And instead of challenging that in any way, shape, or form in any other part of the media outside of us, they all go along. And so American people believe things that are not only not patently untrue, but nowhere within the realm of reality. Anything even remotely related to the facts or the truth. It's unimaginable the things that they believe. This country's in a lot of trouble, man. I mean, the Republican Party has become the party of lunatics. And what are you going to do with a party of lunatics? Especially if they lose elections. If they win elections, you're in a lot of trouble because then they implement policy, and that's the disaster we had for 8 years with Bush and Cheney. They crashed the economy. We are up to 10% unemployment. They leave a gigantic deficit behind, 2 wars behind, one which they should have never started in the first place. But if they're not in charge and they don't win politically, they grab their guns. God help us all. If there is a God, may he help us all. All right, now we go back to healthcare and the absurdities there. Randy Nagaburger? Well, he's Negabauer? Nigabooga? Negabaga? All right. Anyway, he's a Republican and from Texas. He's the one that yelled out to Bart Stupak as he was speaking, Democrat who is pro-life. He yelled out, "baby killer," in the middle of the House while they're having a debate in Congress. Later he said, well, I meant the bill's a baby killer. There's a presidential declaration that says under no circumstances can federal funding be used for abortion, under no circumstances. What part of that is a baby killer? Anyway, so he apologized to Stupak, totally disingenuous, of course. How do I know? Because he then put out this video, pretty much bragging about it. But the part that I love the most is his wife. Watch your eyes. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Randy Nagelbauer, and this is my wife, Dana. Last night, a very historic vote took place on the floor of the House of Representatives, where we unfortunately saw the government takeover of your individual health care. Not only did we see the government take over of your health care, but we saw the lives of unborn children used as a bargaining chip to somehow get the needed votes to pass this legislation. I spoke very passionately because I believed what was going on was not right for America. The policies and the directions that this country are moving on are unacceptable to you, they're unacceptable to me. We see record deficits. We see the government take over of almost every area of our lives. And we continue to see people challenge the right of the unborn children to have a voice and as someone to speak in their behalf. You know what? I'm never going to quit speaking on behalf of the unborn. I'm never going to quit speaking on behalf of the people of Texas and the people of the United States of America that find this policy unacceptable. And I will continue to speak with the same passion that I spoke last night, maybe in a little bit different form, but still with the same intensity. I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of support, but more importantly, I want to thank you for the opportunity and honor of representing you in the United States Congress.
That's awesome. Where was she looking? I mean, that got comical. Why do you have her in the commercial when she doesn't say anything? And then tell her, look, the camera's over there. Just look at the camera, okay? She's You know why she's in the commercial, of course? Because he's a good family man. Not the kind of man who would yell out baby killer, except he did. And he admits he did, right? And here's his cross-eyed wife. And how could he be a guy who's so mean and bad or whatever and impolite if he's got this lovely wife next to him? She looked like she was a little wobbly, too. All right, now, the other funny part is, I will never stop speaking on behalf of the unborn children. How do we know what the unborn children want? Do you have some sort of telepathic powers with fetuses? The unborn children have told me that they hate this health care bill. Republicans, man, they are goofy. Government takeover. What happened? Okay, so now the bill's law. Where did the government take over? Did they take your doctor away? Imagine you go to your doctor's office. They're like, I'm sorry, the government took him over. He's no longer here. I know, Nugga Bugga told me, Booger Picker, told me the government takeover, and he spoke to the fetuses, and he figured it out. All right. Enough with Nugga Bugga. John Cornyn is in the Republican leadership in the Senate, and he's the guy in charge of getting more Republicans elected in the Senate. So when they asked him, hey, John McCain says we're going to repeal the whole thing. In fact, there's already a Republican bill that's, I think, 40 words long that just says we will repeal every single part of this legislation. And it'll be wiped off the face of the earth. Like the bill says, okay, do not apply any of this and repeal every single thing that this bill says. All right, now when asked, Cornyn said, no, that's ridiculous. I mean, we won't repeal everything. There are some parts that politically we can't really even argue against. Like, we won't let the insurance companies deny you because of pre-existing conditions. Well, it's just too popular, right? But other parts we will get rid of. So what are the parts he wants to get rid of? Tax increases on middle-class families. Curious, because there aren't any. Okay. Then he's against an increase in premium costs for people who have insurance now. Now, that one is really important. Why? Now, this bill doesn't increase your premiums, but that's the number one issue I'm most worried about, because it also doesn't prevent the insurance companies from raising your premiums. So John Cornyn knows what they're going to do is exactly what I'm predicting. They will raise your premiums. And then Cornyn will turn around and say, just as he's telling you now, he's telegraphing. So you see that the bill raised your premiums. I'm telling you, man, I'm waving a huge red flag here. It's such an easy tag team for the insurance companies and the Republicans to tag team on this and go, okay, now you raise the premiums, and then, okay, now you guys Republicans go out there and say it was because of the bill. They're going to do it. I guarantee you. I guarantee it. Now, I read an article today, no, premiums are going to go down because of this health care bill. Not going to happen, man. That is a dream. And that is a dream not going to be realized. And if the Democrats go around saying that, they're going to be proven to, well, I don't know if you want to call them liars, not telling the truth, and they're going to be stuck with it. If they're overselling this bill if they're telling you your premiums are going to go down, and the Republicans are ready to pounce. Point number 3 for Cornyn was that he wants to repeal the cuts in Medicare. Yeah, really, John, go ahead. Go ahead. Repeal them right now. Leave everything else alone and repeal the cuts in Medicare. Can you do it? No, of course you can't do it. That would leave a huge hole in the deficit, and you don't give a damn about Medicare. Your party's been trying to kill Medicare ever since this got started. They're so disingenuous. All right, so that's the Republican strategy going forward. Now, let's see what happens. Iceberg straight ahead, but nobody's listening to me. Okay. Actual Socialist has weighed in. Salon talked to the co-chair of the Socialist Party USA, Billy Wharton. They said, all right, so you have your socialists take over our healthcare. Do you like it? He's like, are you effing kidding me? He's like, this thing's a disaster. It's not a socialist takeover. It's a corporate takeover. Don't make me repeat it. He, says the same things. Drug companies are huge winners. Hospitals, private insurance, all their stocks are up. There isn't anything socialist about this, vaguely socialist about this bill at all. It's almost literally quite the exact opposite, okay? Meanwhile, David Brooks agrees with me. David Brooks is a conservative writer, columnist for the New York Times. He's more reasonable than the other guys, which doesn't tell you much at all. I mean, the other guys are lunatics, and he's not quite in the asylum, and which makes him more frustrating sometimes when he spouts his nonsense. In this case, he says, look, the Democrats are the party of taking care of people and fairness. That's what they try for. Republicans are a party of trying for freedom and individualism, et cetera. Those are roughly right? That's what they want to sell themselves as, both parties, right? And he says, look, there's a big win for the Democrats because this goes towards fairness, it goes towards taking care of people, family security, et cetera. But they better be careful in how much they rejoice, because there isn't any cost control in the bill. Now, what he doesn't tell you is the Republicans are the ones that took it out, along with the Democrats, right? Along with all the corporatists, which is what they all are, right? So he says, go ahead, celebrate. But I see the same thing Jake does. Iceberg straight ahead. And unlike me, he's not concerned. He loves it. He's like, those premiums are going to go up, and then we're going to come in and say, ha, 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 we told you it was the Democrats' fault. Mission accomplished. All right, Stanley Greenberg is a pollster for, he used to be pollster for Bill Clinton. He also has a New York Times op-ed. He says, well, look, the numbers don't look good for the Republicans either. They keep losing popularity. The Democrats are also bleeding popularity. People don't know who to vote for because both sides are, disastrous. They don't know where to turn. The reason the health care bill was unpopular was not because it didn't have Republican support. It lost left-wing support. Now, some of that came back. The numbers got a little better. That's what Greenberg explains. But the bottom line is, it's what we always knew. The Republicans continue to be grossly unpopular overall in the country. It's just the Democrats are racing to get there right next to them. That's what you got today, Young Turks. All right, back on the Young Turks. Cenk and Anna with you. Before we do anything else, what is that? Can I see this for a second? We have some sort of cleaner in the studio, and it's called Begley's Best Glass and Service Cleaner, as in Ed Begley Jr., like the super lib actor, right, that we've interviewed. Dave, is this your work?
I make all the purchases for the office.
All right. So did you buy it on purpose because it's like super lib?
I bought it at Whole Foods, so I assumed it was in some way better for the earth than some other chemical.
That's hilarious. Okay. All right, Ed Begley, we got your back, man. Okay, we run a serious lib operation here. All right. Now everybody's having fun. Okay. By the way, the post-game show today is going to be awesome. One, I had that video from yesterday of me pretending to be William Wallace in Scotland. It's really short, but it's awesome. Number two, I went on this program, the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Okay, this is the guy that goes on Hannity all the time. He's a black conservative. He thinks blacks are immoral and lazy. Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We had an hour-long debate. Okay, and I explained to him that he's Uncle Ruckus, and he's like, "Who's Ruckus?" Okay, so we're gonna play some Uncle Ruckus clips for you guys, and we're gonna have that discussion in the post game. It's gonna be fun for everybody. Okay. All right, now let's move forward.
All right. The latest video to go viral on YouTube features a student by the name of Robin Foster, and she is a student at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. She was arguing with her professor about the wording on an exam question, right? Mm-hmm. So she was yelling at her professor, and her professor finally had enough of it. One of the students told her to sit down, and she was upset at that, so she threw a water bottle at the student. And then finally the professor decided to call campus police, okay?
Now the tape starts after she threw the water bottle,
yes,
right?
This tape starts after she threw the water bottle. You're going to see the situation basically unravel and get pretty bad. But let's watch the video, and we'll talk about it afterwards.
Look, you want... And doing all this is unnecessary. I ain't say nothing to you rude until you went back at me and started yelling. I'm sorry that I don't hold my tongue.
That's not the point. The point is that you're...
If I feel disrespectful, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If I feel disrespectful, I'm going to come right back at you. I'm sorry.
Well, now you gotta leave.
I don't have to leave nowhere. I paid to fucking be here. What are you talking about?
You're disrupting and you're threatening...
No, I'm not.
Yes.
I threatened this bitch right here.
And
what
you
does that do with everyone?
You threatened everyone else.
You have an entire room full of people here.
I don't care. You can't, and all you're doing is making me constantly get more and more uncomfortable and angry. You're making me continue to do this. When I dropped this shit a long time ago, and then she interrupted and went to it. You could have been went on.
No, that's not.
You could have been went on with your lecture.
I'm in charge of the class. I told you to leave.
Keep talking to me.
She is, but you don't have to argue back.
I sat here and shut the fuck up, and then she started talking to you.
No, I just said that we should just take a break.
Nah, fuck that shit. She was just talking to you. She just asked so she's saying to stay. Every time I said yes a long time ago. And then she continued to argue with me.
You're missing the point. You disrupted the class. You threatened other students. You need to leave. I told you you could leave on your own volition, or I could call campus police. I told you a number of times we can continue this conversation later. Because it specifically has to do.
It was not a specific question. It was about the actual question.
Right.
It was how you worded the question. Obviously, I didn't understand the question. I think that that's a very vague question. That is not a specific question. If I had asked you, why did you write which is where on my exam, that's specific.
Right.
In
but
my
I already
personal
answered
opinion.
your question. You just didn't like my answer.
Because I didn't think that that was a correct answer, because that's not,
Right.
I mean,
I'm the instructor, and I specifically just said what the answer was.
well, you don't know what the hell laundry list means by definition, so I guess.
This lady will not leave. She's threatened students in the class.
I ain't did shit. And I'm not going nowhere, so you're going to have to carry my ass out if you want to, because I paid for class just like everybody else did. Get the fuck out of my face. Yeah. What are you doing?
Hey, that is.
Why is he
Get
your hands off of me! I'm not even
on the ground.
I'm not even fighting!
Get down on the ground. Hey, you don't You don't have to put down with you.
I said I would go with you. What are you
You're
doing?
gonna have to pull you out of the room.
Get on the ground.
Put your hands on your back.
What are you doing? Because I said that I'm not coming out of this class.
Relax.
You're tapping me to the ground.
Relax.
Relax a bit.
You injured, ma'am?
Yeah.
How are you injured?
I don't know. Maybe because you're putting your fucking knee in my back?
Okay.
Holding you down.
You need an ambulance.
I'm not fighting with you. Why the fuck are you holding me down?
Do you need an ambulance?
Yes, I do.
For what?
Because you're putting your fist in my goddamn back, and I did not even fight with you. So what the hell are you doing?
Are you going to continue to fight with me?
No, take the goddamn handcuffs off of me. I didn't say I was.
We're going to roll you on my side.
So wait, hold on. Wait. Why do you have cuffs on me?
Roll onto your
first?
side. Get on your knees. Get both your knees out.
Both your knees up.
Roll onto your knees. Roll onto your knees.
Why do you have cuffs on me?
Stand up.
No, pause. Why
You're
the
under
fuck
arrest for disorderly conduct.
for disorderly conduct?
Yep.
What did I do?
You're
Stand
threatening
up right now.
you're causing a disturbance in the classroom.
Stand up.
Oh, that
Stand up.
bitch is going to.
Stand up.
And you're continuing. Where's her stuff?
There's nothing wrong.
Does anyone know whose girl?
Yes, I do.
This is hers? This is hers?
All right. Now, I got a lot of strong opinions on that, but I'm going to let you go first.
No, I want you to go first, actually.
All right, I will then. All right. First off, the reason why these become huge events is because of YouTube. Okay, if there weren't any YouTube and they didn't film it and put it up on YouTube, I'm sure this kind of stuff happened all the time before. Okay, now who's at fault? Look, did I used to argue with my teachers before? Hell yeah. Okay, and I can tell you 100 funny stories and how I'm yelling in the middle of a class here. I'll tell you a quick one. All right, I think it was 7th grade English class. The teacher accuses me of cheating, and then I lose it, and and I screaming at her in the middle of the class, and then Marin Foyer, I believe, in the middle of my rant, was like, Jang. I said, what's up? She's like, your fly's open. I was like, oh no.
Oh, I remember that story.
Disaster.
So you started in 7th grade?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And were you cheating?
And I'm like, what do I need to cheat for? I got an A average here. Who are you accusing? Da, da, da. Yeah, I was cheating. Okay, now, but like once you get worked up in the middle of something, right, it's hard, especially as a kid, to recognize, hey, wait a minute, I was cheating, right? She totally stone cold busted me. Anyway, but there are bounds of reason. When the authorities come, you got to go. I mean, what my favorite part of it was she says, you're going to have to carry my ass out. So they go to carry her ass out. She's like, what are you doing?
Right.
What, you told them to carry your ass out, so what did you expect them to do? Now, on the other hand, don't get me wrong. A couple of warnings, campus police, they got in there and they were like, boom, bam, right on the ground, right? I'm like, look, say, hey, you know what, look, we really got to go. If we don't, we're going to have to handcuff you. We're going to have to get physical. You don't want that, right? Give me that a little bit, right? So there's no question that they were a little harsh and that they were acted too quickly. Having said that, I mean, I loved her attitude. She's like, well, I didn't threaten anybody except this bitch right here.
Yeah. She was out of line. And so much of that video was her being out of line. Like, and I understand sometimes professors will do something that you feel is unfair and it turns into a heated argument. But look, as soon as you start cussing and yelling and acting crazy and throwing water bottles at classmates that want you to just sit down, that's when you're acting out of line and that's when you're going to get consequences. So
and she's like, look, I dropped this shit a long time ago. No, you didn't. Every time there was an opportunity to drop the shit, you went on and on and on. It's like, just don't get surprised is all I'm saying, right?
Right.
You throw things at people at this day and age, right, and they call campus security, and then you tell them to haul your ass out, they're going to. Now, you're lucky you didn't get tased. Okay, you keep it real.
She is lucky that she didn't get tased. I mean, how many of those taser stories have we heard about?
Right.
But look, even when she was in handcuffs, I don't know if you caught this part, even when she was in handcuffs, and she was asking, why are you guys, arresting me? Why are you guys arresting me? Somebody said disorderly conduct. And then whoever said disorderly conduct, she looked at that person and said, that bitch is going down. As she's in handcuffs.
You got 3 cops around you. You're just yelling at them. Why did they get you down? You're like, that bitch is going down. Another one of my favorites was pause. When she's like in the middle, she's like, pause. What's happening here? Why am I in handcuffs? All right. Look, again, having said that, just cops, just give them a chance, man. Like, she'd already packed her bags, too, right? I think you could have talked her out of the room. I really do, without having gone full steam ahead instantly. So both sides acted a little questionably, but not a federal case. Just because it's on YouTube and everybody's talking about it, it becomes this giant issue. Final story for you. Speaking of throwing water bottles, again, junior high, a lot of things went down in junior high. Paul Buford throws a book at me in class.
Oh, hell no.
Now, but the thing is, this is how things got settled back in the day, right? Cops weren't called, nobody got tased, people didn't get take out in handcuffs and stuff. And what happened was I said, Buford, do it again, and we're going to have to, settle this issue. So Buford, I mean, what a great name, isn't it?
Buford, yeah.
Yeah, Buford. Buford grabs another book and throws it at me, right?
Right.
I was like, all right, after school, in the yard. Boom.
Did you settle it?
Totally.
You know, when I was in high school, I witnessed one fight between my best friend and her rival.
Uh-huh.
And it was one of the scariest situations I've ever been in. I was really scared. No. I
love how that's like a big story. No, it was a fight. I was scared. Okay.
No. But I mean, you hear about fights all the time. I went to a very lib high school. You don't understand. It was like the mecca of progressives in the valley. So there was never any fighting or anything. So whenever I hear about these violent fightings, my reaction was always like, oh, I'm scared.
No, back in the day, we used to fight all the time. I mean, you want to talk about school violence, right? But it was all right. I mean, it never really got too out of hand, right? So what happened with Buford? I forgot about the fight. One of my best friends, Dope, comes in while I'm talking to my algebra teacher at the end of the school day. And Dope's like, Cenk, we gotta go. I'm like, all right, calm down. I'm talking to Mrs. Merlin here. He's like, we gotta go. And I was like, all right, Dope, I'll come, all right. And then I'm like, what's up? He's like, the whole school's waiting for you in the back of the baseball field, right?
Oh, Jesus. Uh-huh.
Okay, so we go to the back of the baseball field, and Buford's huge. He's like a house, okay? And people are like, you're crazy. You can't fight Buford. And I'm like, I think I can. So we start fighting a little bit, and boom, Buford punches me in the ear. Mm-hmm. You know what happens if you get punched in the ear? You lose your balance. So I'm like, what's going on? Jesus, Lord mercy, right? And then he hits me a couple more times.
In the ear?
No, just in the face.
Okay.
Just in the face. Okay. And there's 100 kids around now, but it's all the way in the back of the school, so none of the teachers see it, right? And it's after school. And 100 is probably too much. Like in my mind, it seemed like 100, probably 20 or 30, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, they start chanting, blood, blood, blood.
Oh my God.
No, kids are scary, man. Okay, so they're they want Buford to kill me. Okay.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. I know. I mean, not literally kill me. I hope. Anyway, and then I wound up getting the upper hand on him. Okay, perseverance. That's how I roll. And boom, I hit him. I hit him a couple more times, and another roundhouse. Down goes Buford.
So you're telling me that after he punched you in the ear, you came back and you kicked his ass?
Yes.
That's a really great story.
That's
no.
a great story.
I didn't know what the ramifications of getting punched in the ear would be. But after you told me, I thought that was serious. I thought you were done.
Well, I thought I was done for a second there, too. You know what the trick to winning a fight is, especially back then, when you're kids and stuff, is stamina. Because Buford got tired. I literally rope-a-doped him. It was like Ali versus George Foreman, right? He just got tired of swinging at me and connecting with my face. And being the Turk that I am, I was like, oh, that's cool. I know I'm crazy, dude. I mean, this is old school. This is a long time ago. Don't do this at home, okay? But I like a little taste of blood in my mouth.
Okay.
Okay, I like to fight. Okay, so he's hit me and I'm bleeding in the mouth and stuff. I'm like, all right, now we're having fun. Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
So what I'm wondering is, what happens at the end of the day when you go home?
Well, that's a good question. But so to finish up the story, now once I got the upper hand on Buford and I knocked him down, okay, down goes Buford, falls down. They start chanting, Rocky, Rocky, okay?
So cheesy.
But what's awesome, it's super cheesy, but what's awesome is how the crowd totally flipped, as if they weren't just screaming for him to kill me.
Right.
Right? I'm telling you, humans are vicious creatures. So now they're chanting for me to kill him, right? So my rules of etiquette back in the day in the schoolyard was, you get somebody to give up, and if they give up, that's it. The fight is over, right? So I'm like, all right, Buford, you're down. You're done. I can do anything I want to, so just give up, right? And he's like, no way, man. And he's on the ground. So I dropped a knee on him, like a wrestling move, okay, on his head. Yeah, okay. So then Buford's like, okay, I give up. Okay, and then after he gave up, that's when the crowd is like, come on, hit him again, hit him again. It's like out of a movie. It's crazy, but it's totally real.
Where are the teachers and stuff? I don't understand. Everyone is just like, it's like a free-for-all.
Back in my junior high, Churchill, the school was here, and then on top of the hill were the fields, and behind that was the baseball field. So we were at the baseball field. They couldn't see us at all, and there were even trees in the middle, okay? Mm-hmm. So then I won. He gave up. So I'm walking home. People are like, no, hit him, hit him, hit him. And then he gets up, I've walked all the way across the field. He's like, come back. And apparently he took a beer bottle and smashed it, and he was going to cut me or something. He's like, come back. I'm like, no, it's over. You lost. A couple of weeks later, comes up to me in the hallways. He's like, sorry, I threw the book at you, man. You're a good fighter. All right. Anyway, now that would be a federal case today.
Oh yeah, that's serious, Jake. First of all, when you need him in the head, you could have given him a concussion.
Yeah, he all right. He Buford. He already had a concussion. Okay. Anyway, what happens when I go home? My parents, they didn't make a federal case out of it. They're like, oh, you got a black eye. What happened? And a big, a fat lip or whatever. So yeah, I got in a fight. Kicked some guy's ass. They're like, all right.
That's it?
Now, look, I don't know. I used to fight all the time back in the day. So I guess they were kind of used to it. I don't know. See, my dad's rule was, and he's a very, very, he doesn't believe in violence at all. And he's since he got into a fight in elementary school, he's never gotten in a fight since. Just doesn't believe in it. Mm-hmm. But he once made the mistake of telling me, and I'm sure he doesn't even remember this. He said, because we're Muslims back then, right? And he's like, in Islam it says you should never hit first. But if someone hits you, you should hit them back so hard they never hit you again. Mm-hmm. He just probably threw that out there in a day of braggadocio. I don't know, right? You never thought about it again. In my little, Turkish head, I was like, yeah.
And you remember that for the rest of your life.
Totally.
That's so funny.
So I still believe in that mantra, but not in the violent, physical way anymore. So, I mean, this stuff is mild stuff by comparison, if you ask me. But on the other hand, there's stuff that is the exact opposite, that is not mild at all. You want to do the next story?
Yeah, let's do the next story
because this is like going in the opposite direction now. We have this extreme as well now.
Yeah, we have a 15-year-old girl. Her name is Josie, and she is a student at Deerfield Beach Middle School in Florida. Okay, she was beaten so brutally that she had to be airlifted off campus and to the hospital. Okay, she was beat by a boy who. 15-year-old boy. Okay, she got beat up by a 15-year-old boy who was the love interest of the victim's friend.
Yeah, I mean it's a weird story about how the 13-year-old girl who is, girlfriends with the 15-year-old boy who did the, the assault, Doesn't have a phone, so she winds up using friends' phones to text them.
Right.
Somehow the one who got beaten up got caught in the middle of this texting thing. I guess the news report's going to explain it a little better.
Yeah, the news report will explain it, so let's watch that.
Okay.
But we're going to begin with 2 shocking crimes in 5 months at the same Florida school. The latest, a 15-year-old girl beaten into a coma, allegedly by another boy over a text messaging dispute. NBC's Michelle Kaczynski is at the Broward County Sheriff's Department with more on this. Good morning to you, Michelle.
Good morning, Meredith. You hear this happening among children, and it's hard to comprehend that level of violence. I mean, police are calling this attempted murder, but that it's happened twice in months in the same town to kids from the same school makes for some serious questions here.
Their parents want you to see these pictures and look closely. That this is what kids are doing to other kids in one town, students in the same school. October, Mikey Brewer doused with alcohol and set on fire over a video game.
He said, "I told you, Graham." That was his reaction. "I told you, Graham." That it's difficult, that it goes on all the time.
His grandmother says that was his reaction to this. Classmate Josie Ratley beaten nearly to death here last week by a boy she had never met. Police say over a text message, one that mentioned his brother who committed suicide. Sparking, they say, a sort of snap text rage that sent the 15-year-old pedaling 3 miles to, quote, kill her, snap her neck and stomp her head, according to their report.
I don't know. Nothing. Oh, all I know is my baby's in the hospital.
Also charged, Josie's 13-year-old friend. Police say she pointed Josie out to her attacker, then watched. So what is going on in Deerfield Beach? According to the school district, a big drop in fighting since last year. Nothing anyone can put their finger on. Maybe more disturbing to acknowledge this might have been anywhere.
There probably were warning signs that went unnoticed. Poor anger management skills, inability to have an outlet anywhere else. And so you just snap.
Something that even young kids are worrying about.
Could have been me getting beat up or burned and killed, shot.
Something bad can happen to me. And I gotta watch out.
You worry a lot. You have to watch yourself and what do you say around other people and how you say stuff.
School administrators tasked with trying to help say their latest efforts involve stepping beyond those schoolhouse doors and actually trying to strengthen families here.
Everyone needs to be engaged in this conversation. It can't be just a spot on the evening news.
All right. Look, I'm glad that the reporter mentioned, and she mentioned later again, that actually violence is dropping, right? It's just that what we're having is also some extreme forms of violence.
Right.
Even though they might not be as prevalent as it was before. But burning some kid alive, I mean, that's unbelievable. And stomping somebody's head with a steel-toed boot, and to the point where she's in a coma. She's improving a little bit now. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, she really could have died there. And, you know, is it the administration's fault? I don't know. How do you stop it?
You can't stop it. I mean, you can't blame that on the administration. How were they to know?
Yeah.
You know, and look, it always goes back. Right now, when it comes to extreme forms of violence, it always goes back to text messaging, and it always goes back to cell phones. Cell phones keep getting these kids in trouble. All right? And I understand. Oh, well, we need to give kids cell phones in case of an emergency. I didn't have a cell phone growing up. Kids that I went to school with didn't have a cell phone growing up. We never heard of stuff like this going on. Okay? Look, cell phones right now for teenagers are not used for anything productive.
Well, look, I agree and disagree. Now, do the kids really need cell phones? Of course they don't. Look, I know I got nephews. They were growing up. They wanted the cell phones. They got cell phones, etc. I get it. But in an emergency, no. You use it 99.9% of the time to talk to your friends. Okay? Of course. Now, having said that, what the hell is text rage? I don't believe that at all. I mean, what is it like? Oh, I got a text, and that threw me into a rage.
Right.
That kid was going to get thrown into a rage either way.
And that's another thing. I mean, I think that the parents of this 15-year-old boy should have, you know, maybe paid a little more attention to him because his brother just committed suicide. Obviously, he's not in the right state of mind. And maybe it would have been a good idea to put him in therapy or something. Obviously, he had to have been showing some signs of rage. This isn't something that comes out of nowhere.
I'll tell you what, though, if I'm on the jury, I'm not hearing any of that talk of the brother's suicide. Okay, I mean, that's, of course, tragic, terrible, et cetera, but no, you don't get to beat someone nearly to death because you got your own emotional issues. No way. And, you know, with a steel-toed boot on a girl that's defenseless, that's crazy. And let alone the guy who lit the other one on fire. No, can't have it. Look, but I don't think it's anything specific to cell phones or to texting. It's just some kids are emotionally disturbed, and I don't know what's causing them to. Maybe that it always existed. We just didn't have TV coverage of it before, you know. But the kind of extreme violence is obviously very, very disturbing, and they got to get that under control somehow. All right, let's take a quick break here. We'll come right back, Young Turks.